Okay, so here is the video of Prigozhin announcing that he is withdrawing from Bakhmut. Let's take a look. Okay, so I want to point out, this is classic Prigozhin. He is on the front lines, and they might actually be in the real front lines, because look at these different troops. Here's a guy with OCP. Here's a guy with what look like old school Russian, like Chechnya era fatigues. These guys are just out here doing stuff. Just they're putting in the work. And this is a change because we've noticed that in other video, he's had extremely well-geared soldiers, right? They've been very on brand for Wagner. But now it's a lot of the regular rank and file Wagner troops.
Выходим в тыловые районы. Да, сказали, будем выходить потихоньку. Выходим, оттягиваемся.
Yeah, that you notice, look, he could have done another take of this, that truck pulling out of there, but like he didn't. And that's really interesting. Again, I'm a content creator too. And like sometimes when you have something like somebody pulling out the truck, if you want things to have a certain vibe, you just reshoot it. But you notice he's not. These guys he's just rolling with it. And I think that is not an accident. I think he wants to create this perception that like he's actually on the front lines, that the rank and file, these are what the real rank and file are. These are the real Wagner fighters.
Главное, аккуратно. Да, постепенно переходим. По одной единице, да. Выходим, да, направо, подъезжаем. Ну что, все остальные, до 1 июня все соберемся. Передадим военным. Сделаем. Будет поставлена задача, будет выполнена.
Yeah, again, this guy's really in Bakhmut. He's really doing this. And this is a massive, I know it sounds like I'm praising him. Like, I'm not stupid. Wagner is bad dudes, right? They're Russian convicts. They have a track record of war crimes. Prigozhin himself is probably some level of criminal. His organization is brutal. But I'm pointing this out to contrast it with the perception of Russian leadership. And I want you guys to understand how he stage manages his production capabilities, how he stage manages his public persona, and how important authenticity is to his public persona, right? I believe, it's the reason why it looks like a mega streamer like Valkyrie, right? She streams in what looks like her bedroom. It's not an accident, right? She could afford to have a mega super cool studio. But authenticity is an important part of connecting with people. And so Prigozhin is really trying to create that effect, that look of this is authentic. Look, he's the boss of Wagner, and this supply truck just rolls right by him. It's not an accident.
Парни, все? Через 10-15 минут трогаемся, да? Да, трогаемся. До 1 июня все выходим, отдыхаем, готовимся.
So I want to point out, these guys are looking like Wagner's professional soldier corps, and we've discussed this with assault detachments for a little while. The assault detachment concept has a combination of low-skill infantry, usually conscripts with very limited training, but then they have specialists in different equipment, and these look like specialist tankers. They're trained on this equipment, right? You can see it's properly camouflaged. Again, it looks less and less staged managed. This is probably actually how this tank has been camouflaged. And these guys are probably professionals, right? But they are probably on the front lines, but they are in a support role relative to the assault detachments.
А потом получим новую задачу. Поэтому военным все позиции передаем, подвал с кроватью и бельем, да? Все, мыло им оставьте. Зубные щетки забирайте. Хорошо. Ну все, парни.
Yeah, man, this is good. Have you ever seen Putin crack a joke with soldiers on the front lines? You ever seen Shoigu, like, anywhere near the front lines, talking to regular troops, a couple of 20-somethings in a tank, right? In the middle of a bombed-out building? Never. It's unthinkable for Russian leadership to do it. And that's why he's filming this. He's showing that he understands, and while one of his big criticisms of Putin is that he's the bunker granddad, right? And it implies that he doesn't know what's really going on. He only knows what the people that come in and out of the bunker tell him. And they could tell him any fantastical story. Whereas you release something like this, and the Russian public is going to go, well, Prigozhin knows what's really going on.
Давайте поаккуратнее, да? Быстро выходим, чтобы не собираться, да? Боеприпасы тоже им оставим. То, что потребуется стрелкотню, да?
Да, излишки все равно есть, оставим.
Да. Ну все, счастливо. Счастливо.
Again, I just want to point out, these guys are a lot more messy, as is he. You notice he's rocking some patches. He's really starting to, it's almost like he wants you to feel like he too is becoming more of a frontline combatant. He's got his morale patches. They probably say something goofy. If someone can translate Russian, I'd love to know what his patches say. But you notice some of these guys, some of them look properly geared. This dude looks geared adequately. But like some of them have helmets, some don't. So this was yesterday that this was filmed.
Сейчас 5 утра, 25 мая. До 1 июня основная часть перебазируется в тыловые лагеря. Передаем позиции военным боекомплект, позиции, все, включая сухой поездки.
He's eating this up, man. Again, like the message that he is projecting of like being involved is just so tremendously different from the Kremlin's propaganda. It's not an accident, guys. It's not an accident. And while I think it is real, it is also stage managed.
Но если военным будет трудно, безусловно, мы оставим тех, кто имел основную роль в захвате Бахмута. Все думают, каким образом ЧВК «Вагнер» действовала. Организация, управление, вооружение, подготовка. Влияло два фактора. И два человека, которых мы оставляем военных. Подойдите ко мне, парни. Бибер и Долик. Вот это Бибер, вот это Долик. Поэтому, как только военным будет трудно, то они встанут и преградят путь украинской армии. Парни, не обижайте военных. Ладно? Хорошо. Все. Если что...
So, why is he doing this, right? This is pretty funny. These guys are really the ground level infantry for Wagner, and he knows it. These guys look, this is what these guys probably actually wear to conduct these assaults, right? The baseball cap under the helmet, the like mishmash of gear. These are the real Wagner fighters, right? And so we got to ask ourselves why. He's worked really hard to portray Wagner as being pretty capable, pretty competent soldiers. And so he's rolling out some two just goofy looking kind of jabronis, right? And again, I think this is the real Wagner group, right? So why? He points out, listen, I think what he's saying, you notice he says earlier, he's like, everybody talks, there you go, two factors, but we rehearse, we play a crucial part in capturing Bakhmut, but right before it, he says, transferring positions. Okay, let's see. Everybody talks about Wagner's organization. There's so many reviews. Oh, here we go. Everyone keeps thinking of the way the PMC Wagner acted. Organization, management, arms, training, right? So everyone talks about us like we are just like a cut above the Russian military and that we have these things that we don't. But then he brings these guys out and he says, look, these guys, they're not super soldiers. They're not highly trained mercenaries. Like, they're regular dudes. And so what he's saying is, I, as the head of Wagner Group, I just did it better. I'm not working with geniuses. I'm not working with super soldiers. I haven't gutted the Russian military of all of its good soldiers, and that's why I'm effective and they're not. He's like, I work with Bieber and Dolnik here. And I still captured Bakhmut, and the Russian Ministry of Defense failed, right? So don't think about it as looking out for Bieber and Dolnick, but I think it's pretty funny that they're still here and that he's still giving them a shout out of, listen, even these dudes did more than your Russian military. Even these dudes, which, like, he's correct. These yahoos, the dregs of an assault detachment, are still out here, have achieved battlefield effects in excess to the Russian professional military, which is pretty humiliating. It's like more humiliating, honestly.
Встанут и преградят путь украинской армии. Парни, не обижайте военных. Ладно? Хорошо. Все. Если что, они вместе с ними.
Interesting, guys. That is just to me, just totally fascinating.